All right, where are we? We're in the spring major in the second qualifying round. I'm in my practice account. So I had a long day. I didn't get home by the time I took a shower and ate. And it's what? Jeez. It's almost 8 o'clock. It's 7:48. So Dunner lives East Coast time. I live Pacific. So he's 3 hours ahead of me. So it's 10:48 at his house. And he has a real job. So he has to get up in the morning. So here we are, all by myself. So yesterday we took some basic notes on just like what 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 was possible. On some of the holes, we played them a couple times. We practiced, and my main goal when I've got brand new holes is day number one is to figure out what kind of clubs I'm going to use. I'm not so worried about any percentages or like any adjustments, although I do have a few adjustments that we made from that spot. So kind of see what's possible today. And today I'm going to try and qualify my practice account. So I'm going to go out there, and my goal today is just to shoot the minimum score. So if you're new to Golf Clash, if you haven't played for a long time, pretty much every course in the game is minus 12 is your minimum score. You need to be able to shoot the minus 12 with your eyes closed. And then you're trying to pick up shots. Now you're trying to get the hole-in-one, or you're trying to get the eagle on the par 4. You're trying to get that Albie, and those are shots that are going to get you towards the top of the bracket. And normally my goal is to focus on par 4s. And if we and like those, in my opinion, like overall on courses, your best opportunities to always pick up shots and to really trying to put yourself in the conversation is to really focus on par 4s. And you need to focus on par 3s too. You need to focus on all of them, but like par 4s are usually the easiest way to pick up shots. Like there are some holes in the game that are super hole-in-oneable, and we want to get a hole-in-one, but like we don't have to do that on every hole, right? Especially when holes are brand new. The next time we play this tournament, the scores will be lower because we'll all have played these holes a bunch more times. And so we'll all have played them in the tournament, and we'll all have played them maybe in one-on-one, or we've ran across them, right? And so we're going to get better, especially at the par 3. So the second time we play this holes, the scores are going to be a little lower. But right now, we need to focus on, I want to try and figure out these par 4s. So my goal is to get a minimum score of minus 12 and pick up all 3 par 4s. That puts me at minus 15. I mean, that's always my goal in every tournament. And then any shot I can pick up on top of the par 4s, then that's like a winning shot. And so we need to see what's the best way. And I will tell you from only playing one round on this, I like this course because it seems like it's pretty tough depending on the wind. And even in some good wind situations, there's some tough shots out here where these par 4s, you're not, they're not all easy par 4s. I don't know that there's any easy one of them. They all seem like they were pretty tough. Like we're going to have to take a shot from distance. So we want to put ourselves in the same exact, we want to find a spot that works for our clubs, whatever club you got. And you want to shoot that shot, and you want to look at your distance, and you want to go to the same spot every time so that you can work that shot. It's 2 backspin, it's 1 right hand side spin. I'm going to do a plus 10 or a 0.2, minus 0.2, or whatever your adjustment happens to be. And we want to work from there. So the goal today is minus 12, but minus 15 is what I'm always shooting for, because minus 15 is where the reporter, when you walk off of the last hole, the reporters come up to you and go, hey, that was a great round. What do you feel? How's it feel to be in the top 5 or top 10 or top 3? You know, and they're going to interview you. That's the goal. All right, hole number 1. Somebody asked me on the channel about where I get, I remember a Golf Clash Elite, and I've been a member since the very beginning, and I get, Kyle gives them to me too, and Des used to send them to me early because he lived in New Zealand, so it seemed like he got them before they were available in the U.S. And I used to be really diligent about it and shoot holes right off the bat, but see, I'm a slacker. I've been super busy in real life and busy at work, and it's the season. We're starting to get to the beginning of our season, so we work hard. All right, here we go. Let me plug my device in, otherwise I'm going to crash. Okay, so yesterday I was able to get down into this area. Now, this fairway, this little bunker steeply slants down. I can think of one par five where we've got a bunker out in the middle where it does that. And so if you come in, when you're coming in at it, it doesn't matter if your ball is going straight or not. When it encounters this hill, it's going to go to the right. And so if you were trying to get on, you'd want to kind of start lower so that you can hit it up higher on the hill. So when it comes down to the right, and it's going to come to the right, you can't stop it. If it's rolling across the ground, it's going to go to the right. And if it hits that on a bounce, it's definitely going to go to the right. It would probably be really hard to get into the water unless you were really trying to go for the shot to see what was possible. But like on a normal one with a little bit of an adjustment, I think it would be hard to go over the back, but you could possibly get somewhere up in that area. But I think we're going to be taking our shot from right here. So yesterday I took that shot with a kingfisher, and let's see if I got kind of lucky yesterday. I think I got lucky because we were checking it out. We were stretching it out and seeing where our red lines were at. I haven't had time to go back and watch that video, but that video was like an absolute pure practice. And even though we were just dinking around, it's good if you're watching that video because we were pulling out to our red lines and we were seeing and we were trying out different balls. And then we time out. Dunner brought out a bigger ball several times, but I think I played the whole round with a Titan. I might have used one berserker on hole number 9 in a practice. All right, let's see what's possible. A big topper right here would probably be pretty damn good. Get you out there a little farther. 2, 3. And I'm just going to do, that's a little bit of an adjustment. Hit it one ring great to the right. To the right! I don't think that'll have any effect. It'll all be whether or not I overhit it. And that's probably, I think I was a little bit closer yesterday and I didn't write down the yardage. So I'm at 387, so I need to write that down. 387. And with a power 3 ball, let's see where I'm at. Yesterday I overpowered it and was able, I tried to use my Zerk to see if I could get up there. I was pretty close. But I think I clipped the rough and then rolled down into that fairway. I can't remember what that shot was, but I know I got super lucky. There was some skill involved in it, but I got really, really lucky. That's how it works. If you can't be good, be lucky. Hey, Itsy Bitsy. What are you barking at? Daddy's just in here talking to himself. Come on. Oh, I'm in Hornet in this account. So there's Max Hornet. There's Min, so I'm at mid Hornet. I haven't decided. My Hornet changed and I'm not happy with it, so I'm going to try 1-1. And I'm going to do no adjustment. I need to get lined up. There's 1, 2, 3. Hit it 2 rings great. I focused and barely missed that, and that was 2 rings great to the right, and I had a +0 on here. Yesterday I did like a plus. I thought, because it looked to me like it was a little, because of the way that you go over the top of that hill with that kind of wind, I did a +10%, and I think I overpulled it because I wrote +0, and I hit it perfect yesterday. I can't hit it perfect 2 times in a row. Normally I don't focus on it. What I do is I look at the ball and I make sure that I'm absolutely centered, and I'm glancing. I'm not glancing up, but you're keeping track of it, and I'm trying to time it in my head, and then I'll glance up to see if I'm on time, and then usually the next time by I let it go. But I actually stopped and focused so that I could see the bullseye, and I don't normally do that. kind of deal is that? All right, I need coffee. I need coffee and a cigarette. Let's see if we can get minimum score here. Let's see if we can just go out and just dink around and shoot minimum score. Out playing with the boys at the local golf course. There's some of those guys at those local golf courses that are super good. All playing on handicap. And those guys all play golf together all the time, so. In the hole. All right, hole number 2, I think is a par 3. And I got Sniper Katana. 6 backspin. 1 right-hand side spin. Plus 20%. And it seemed to me that you had to be... So this next hole, let's go look at it. So this hole right here, when you're coming down, and what I'm trying to do is start off in this area right here and bringing it down. I think there was a rough bump. There's a rough bump that you can do, and you're doing a rough bump and you're trying to, but there's a hill right here and it all goes down and it's pretty damn steep. And when it gets caught at the top, and it almost comes to a stop, but if it encounters this hill, even in the slightest, it'll almost come to a stop, and then it'll roll down the hill. And it's the perfect speed that if you're on line with the cup, you're probably going to go in. And if you hit the flagpole, you're definitely going to go in. But when it stops up here at the top, it jogs first, and then it rolls straight down the hill. And I think it's jogging to the left, because I think we kept missing it to the left yesterday. So, and it's hard to get right at the hole. All right, here we go. Sniper and a Katana. And it seemed like that setup was kind of difficult to find the right spot. And there's some trees on the right hand side, and they kind of block your view. It might be better to set the shot up from the other side. In the worst case scenario, 6 backspin, and it was 1 and a sliver right hand side spin. And it's not a rough bump, but it brings it right down to the cup. And it seemed like the blue rings were kind of wedged in. You might have been a little bit of your top blue ring into the rough on that transitional mark right here. And my opponent's got it right there, but when you pull that, and it's not going to stop right at the cup, but if it encounters the cup from right there, it's going to go in. And it won't roll all the way to the bottom of the hill. It will come to a stop. Let's see if they can get it to go. Let's see if they get that little... And theirs ran pretty straight. Let's see if we can get it. All right, 6 and 1. There's 3. First things first. Let's switch to a Katana. It is 6 and 1 and a sliver. Okay, I'm on the inside of the cup. See, doesn't want to go right there. 3, it's 3.6 rings. There's 3.6. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if we can get it. That was with a 20% adjustment. And let's see if it makes that little jog. It didn't today. I had a little bit too much speed, but if it hit the flagpole, it would have stopped. And I don't think that's too difficult to putt from there. And I don't like putts, but that's straight up the hill, and it's not one of those side hill putts. So that was a slight overpull. So if it's any adjustment on that, it'd have to be like maybe 15% or 17 and a half. I'm going to write 17 and a half on mine. Because that's, I'll do a 15 and see if that puts me on the other side. Let's see if this putt's as easy as I talk shit about it. Isn't it perfect? I'm a shitty putter. I've won a lot of tournaments and it hasn't been on my putting skills, I can tell you that. That is for sure. All right, here we go. Hole number 3. What is hole number 3? So on my notes, it says APOC. That's all I have. That's what I wrote down yesterday. All right, it seemed to me yesterday I went for broke and with an APOC, and I ended up in the rough right here and had a pretty easy shot getting up. And I think it might have been possible if you had, I think I was using a power 3 ball, but with a power 4 ball or a power 3 ball with just a little bit of topspin, extra topspin. But for most players, it's probably going to be a power. This is why those 444s are the greatest balls in the game. I mean, because there's so many opportunities to use those balls. It's like those albatross balls. Those power 5 balls with the 5 power 5 two topspin boost and 5 wind. Those balls are, and it doesn't have a lot of side spin, but I can live with that. So this is the area. So if we got out into the fairway right here, we'd have a fairway shot, but I'm not sure I really want to dink around with that. I mean, obviously this little island in front would be awesome, but I don't think it's possible depending on the wind. Let's see if I remember to go. I'm going for that shot. I want to see what it takes to get down there, if that is a shot. And I'm going to use a Titan, the king of balls. That's right. Let's buy some Titans. And I don't have as high a level. I went to my bag to grab that Kingfisher because I'm using a Kingfisher in 77. Partially, it's my Kingfisher in my level in my 77 account is level 7, so it starts getting some pretty good shit at level 7. So I got to get used to hitting this Hornet. I have to commit to playing the Hornet at level 9. I liked it better at level 8. Regardless of whether the numbers I used or not were what anybody else used in the game, those numbers worked for me. And they were odd numbers. They weren't the numbers even close. The mid number was what was way different. But what I found is that the max number, my max number was also different. For me, it was whatever the club hits. My short iron is whatever the club hits times 0.175 is what you play for mid, and times 2 is what you play for max. And if you play with a Hornet, I played those numbers all the way until it was level 8 and killed it with a Hornet. I mean, if you hit it perfect with a Hornet and it doesn't go in, that is a sad deal. That's sad. Let's go for it. I want to see like if I catch one and I get super lucky, like what kind of look am I looking for up there? Okay, I'm gonna put the wind. The wind's gonna blow me along that, so I'm gonna take the wind out, and then I'm gonna put the wind back in. Oh, and I thought I had waited too long because I let off of max, and that was totally my fault. I slid along the bottom, and I came off of max curl, and I went to put it back, and my timing, I thought I was going to run out of time. I think I had time for it to go by one more time. I like to hit those. I like to hit hooks to the right by releasing when I'm going from the left to the right, and I like to hit hooks to the left when it's going from the right to the left. But I am in big trouble from that sand trap. I think. No, that might be close enough that I can get up there with my Spitfire. Yes, ma'am. I can get on the green side. That's what we're looking for. How much can I curl it? If I leave the wind in it, so I'm going to take the wind out, and then I'm going to put it back in. So at max club, I'm going to do a ring and a half. I count that as 3 miles an hour. Put the wind back in. And I hit it 2 rings great to the right. I got up on that upper platform. I didn't want to have a putt from the bottom. The pitch from the bottom probably wouldn't be bad, especially if you have a rapier. You could run your topspin from there. Sometimes you have a problem going up hills, but you could run your topspin from there. But being up on the upper pad where you're on the same level as the cup is much more better, especially if you're a little downhill from it. In a weekend round on a real course, like in the opening round, the flag was on the bottom level, and then the opening round the flag's on the top, but in the weekend round the flag is on that fucking hill. And it ain't fun to hit that. Anytime I have a problem where the ball guide's appearing and disappearing, I want to just get to the cup. Hit it 1 ring great to the right or left. In the hole. At that close with a rapier, you're not going to miss, and you can play it like most people play their Inbringers, and you're not really worried about distance. It's close enough that if you are aiming at the flagpole, a great to the left or the right are still going to go in. Hell, you might be able to hit a 2 ring great to the left or the right. I wouldn't recommend it, but it's close. All right, I recovered. There's a shot down there if I hadn't screwed that up. There he is. Hole number 4. What do I got for notes for hole number 4? Sniper Quasar, plus 0.2. Sniper Quasar. Let's go look at it. All right. I think we were doing a rough bump. And yesterday the wind was blowing like this. I don't know that I would want to do this shot if the wind was blowing anywhere where it involved me pulling the sand. You could move up and down this hill, but it might your adjustment's definitely going to change to try and get down there drastically. And I'm not sure what it would look like from the top. So I suppose if the wind was blowing left or right, the top would be really good. And you could work it with the wind. But if you had any wind that was affecting with the sand, you're screwed. You could get this, anything on this plane down in here. So we'll try it. Sniper Quasar, plus 0.2. Sniper Quasar. I need to check my bags. Okay, my bag number 4's got a sniper, and my bag number 3's got a cat. And my bag number 2 has catkills. And then my bag number 1's got a sniper. And there are some of these holes that I think the second shot, right now they're birdie holes with an eagle opportunity for most people. Like, are there people out there that are getting eagles all the time? Yes. But for most people out there, I think it's a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. And it seemed like that there was 2 of them in this. And that's what's cool about it. It's making these courses tougher so that getting the minimum score that I'm talking about, a -12, is a bitch. That's what we're talking about. And my Cataclysm versus my Big Dog. Big Dog's got a little bit more topspin, a little bit more backspin, but the accuracy is the same and the ball guide's a little bit better. And there's a big difference between having your ball guide going down so that you can really extrapolate where it's going to go versus having it come up. So, like, really, this has it's really bad when it's at 3. So I mean 3.2, the difference between 3.2 and 3.0 is like the difference between 3.6 and 3.2. It's drastic. And so that ball guide's a little bit, and I don't know that I need all the topspin. It seemed like on one of them you need a big hitting club, but I'm not sure you need all the topspin. And I know I won't need backspin. Select. All right. And I'm taking a Quasar. A Quasar. Can I pick the right ball? I forgot what I was doing. I was looking at the big club, and I digressed. All right, that's the hole. That is the hole. Let's play it. Shit, I forgot what I was doing. What is the deal? All right, hole number 4. Hole number 4. Sniper Quasar plus 0.2. Here we go. Potential spam at 8 o'clock. Yeah, that's just what we need. My wife tells me not to answer them because then they'll know. Then they'll know that there's somebody on the line, and then they'll keep calling you back. It'll pop up as a good number. And that may be the way to go. I think the first time I shot it, that's how I went. I went right at it. Using backspin. Guardian. Seems like one of these holes, and I think it was hole number 9, there's 2 different ways to play it. There's 2 different ways to play it so that you can get in certain clubs. So you may be shooting the Big Dog Cataclysm shot, or you may be shooting a shot where you can get closer, and what you really need is a Guardian. Because you can go over the trees and get really close and use all that backspin. Let's get the right club. So it's 5.1, so it's 5.3. There's 4, 5, 3. Hitting it perfect. Boom, nice hit in this right in the middle of the and just a little bit off. So I did a plus 0.2. So that was a 20%. All right. Let me make a note here. I'm going to shoot this with my finger. Oh, that's the first time I used my finger for a shot in a long time. My finger hurts now. The game I played before this, you would touch the screen so many times during the course of a day that after the first 2 or 3 weeks of playing it, I started getting like my fingertip was so sensitive because it was bruised. I kept like repeat injury. Hole number 5. Hole number 5. That was the right hole. Plus 30. All right, hole number 5. Rock and a Titan. Let me pick the bag first. Rock, Titan. And a Kingmaker, I think on this hole would definitely work better. All right. We are ready to play it. All right. Oh my gosh. And the second club needs to be a Cataclysm. Let's make sure I got a Cataclysm. I want to make sure. I want to visibly see that Cataclysm. So there were several things that we learned yesterday on this. Let me see if I can remember correctly. So I hit one shot from kind of like dead center out in here, and it seems like with a sniper, and I had a sniper, I had to come at it. Let's see if I can get that off the screen. I was out like in this area and I had to come at it like this. I think I was able to get up there in one shot, but it was like a long shot. I was wishing that when I was out here that I had a Cataclysm or a big dog, and it was pretty damn easy to get out here. Now, there is a risk. If you get too far out here, you're underneath the trees. And so you'll have to find a lane, and it looked like there is some room out there if you're a little bit farther back. But I think you can overhit it and actually end up being behind the trees. But if you're out in this area, either bring a big damn ball or just bring a bigger wood, and you can do it with power 3 ball. The shot that we were really trying yesterday, and we modified it, Dunner was trying to hit out into this area right here, getting, I think it was bounce, rough bump, bleed out. My thing on that is that it's possible to get because you got to be able to be, if you go too far, once again, it's almost like these trees here, only it's more pronounced. It's really bad. Here you might find a lane. If you hit it too close where it's at, if you draw that line, if you're on this side of the line, then that means you have to use curl to get around the tree. And so if you get too far in, and you don't have it, your curl is going to bring you out into this area, and you're going to land out here. There isn't enough, so you may have to lay it up. Like you could do a max overpower hook shot, but it still has a landing spot somewhere out here, right? So I mean, it still has a landing spot, so you're screwed. You may have to lay it up. So there's a huge ass risk. This is almost like being out of bounds. In real golf, out on a course where you're on a hole like this is the type of hole that I like, because I don't mind laying it up and trying to get right here, because here I've got a clear ass shot right up this lane to get to the cup. And I can kind of use instead of having to bring it in and curl it, I almost can take care of it with side spin. And anytime you're taking the money shot, this is the money shot. Okay, this is the delivery system. Okay, getting out here to this spot right here is just a delivery so that you can take the money shot. And you don't have to put anything on it. And if you have to involve the word curl in the money shot, you're on. Don't give your dealer's name out, because you're on some good stuff. Okay? That you don't want to have to involve that word in it. If you're out in here, you also have a straight shot, but you've got to have, like I said, you got to have a bigger ball, or you got to bring a big club. But this, I think, it was still a long ass shot. You're still gonna have to bring a big club. If you do the arc, the Dale Appleby thing, he's got so many circles on the screen you can't see it. If you do the arc, if you're over here, you're about the same distance as here. And it is easy to get out here, but it's easy to get your ass in trouble behind those trees. If you're going to this spot, what I did was I used a rock and I did a rough bump off of this dirt face. It acts like a rough. And it's one of those steep ass hills that goes up like this. So if you hit it too low, it might go up and bounce backwards. So you got to hit it at that apex. But if you get up close and you're trying to get up close to it, the closer you get, the flatter it's going to go forward. The farther back you hit, the more it's going to go up. And so if you get into that situation where you get too far up on the hump when you hit it, it'll roll out and you may end up in the rough. And if you're in the rough here, you're screwed. You could probably do a max overpower hook shot from up in this area. If you can reach this fairway with your Nirvana, you could do a max overpower hook shot and try and get at least up into this zone. But I'm pretty sure you're screwed, because over here you have to have a wood. And your Nirvana's a long iron. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. I think the safest way to go, if you're just trying to secure, if we're just playing for minimum score and we're trying to figure out in one-on-one which way would we go, in one-on-one I think I would always go for the island, because I'm going to bring out a smaller ball. And from over here with a smaller ball it would suck. But in one-on-one I think I would go for this island, because if you go for that island and you've got a small ball and they went this way, it's you almost won. I'm going to go for that island. I think if you go the other way, you'll have to practice that shot, because you do not. I would go out there and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about the first time you hit it into those shadows. I think those shadows are a good marker. All right, here we go. Here we go. Hole number 5. All right. All right. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to play the bottom way. I brought the right second club this time. I didn't have the right second club yesterday. And I had a plus 20% to the cup. Now they're going for the shot. Let's see if they go for the shot that I'm talking about that my buddy Dunner's doing, where they're trying to do a third bounce rough bump and bleed out. But you're trying to get into this front area here. And the deal is that because you're picking up so much distance, you can hit from that front area with a sniper. But you got to hit that rough at the right spot, or it'll run out into those shadows, and then that's way too far. And they left the wind in. And from where they're at, pushing the way that wind's pushing, it's pushing them out there into the shallowest part. If they make the shot, they're going to be in a perfect spot. And that's the kind of roll. That is perfect. Nice shot. Now we're going to get to see how good of a spot my opponent's in versus me. Three, 6. There's 3, 7. Hitting it perfect. And we'll see if I bleed too far. Perfect. Now you can determine which one of those shots you think is easier if you're going that way, and that's what you're trying to achieve. You're either trying to get where my opponent was so they can take a sniper. And you can see where the second bounce is. The second bounce is in front of this rough, so they can spin with, they can pick a spot down there. So they always put it in so that their orange ring is slightly into the rough, slightly into that transitional area. They're at +5 or +3. Find a couple markers so you can set it up exactly the same every time. Every time. My opponent's putting on a clink. This is awesome that I can use my opponent. Because most of the people you play don't do wind adjustments. And it works out for them sometimes. It always works out for them when you're not wanting it to. I can tell you that. So there's my red line. So even with the power 3 ball, You can see the difference. I don't mind hitting this overpower. And it's got a little bit of a backboard on it. I'm going to take the wind out. Hit a 2 ring straight to the left. So Cataclysm with a power 3 ball does not work from over there, even with a tailwind. But from the other side, I had fairway the whole way. I didn't have to get it over that water. So I could run it from farther back and run my top spin out. I'll try from the other side. I think I'll try from the other side and see what the deal is from there. We'll see. Perfect. All right. All right. We haven't picked up anything, but we haven't dropped anything either. I have 0 notes for hole number 6. None. None. All right, let me look at that hole one more time. So I'm going to make a command decision. So where my opponent was at here, if we draw the arc, I don't think you can get, I think if you get that far, my opponent was there. So if you draw the arc, we can't get, even if we got out into this area, we can't get, we're the same distance that we were from here. But my red line was right here, so that means if you do the arc to that spot, my red line, if I would have been from this direction, would have been right here. So I could have pulled back from the red line and ran my top spin out to get me onto the green, and I wouldn't have had to do any overpower. That's why you bring a big dog or something, so it's got that. But on this side, there's no place to run that out. I couldn't get to a spot. And I was quite a ways away. It was almost overpowered just to get me there. Man, I think out from here with a power 4 ball is probably the way to go. And this shot right here is awesome, but I think that shot, the deal is it presents big ass problems. Next time I play it, I'll work on this shot. And if I do get behind that tree, I'm curious to see what you can do. You know, how far you can get out there, what that shot's like. Maybe you can recover. I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Next hole. All right. I have no notes at all for this hole, so I have no idea. This hole, it seemed to me, one of these par 3s, or no, this is a par 4. This par 4. Yeah. I don't think it was possible to get over here. I think the shot was to actually hit it out into this area, so you got a straight up shot coming in. I don't even know with a bigger power ball. I'm going to hit out into this area. So I'm going to bring a rock and a sniper. Rock and a sniper. And it'll time me out. All right. A rock and a sniper. I just lost my calculator. My phone died. All right, here we go. Hole number 6. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm just trying to think on the hole we just played, hole number 5. If you had a low power ball, man, that hole's going to be tough with a low power ball. You're going to have a bag. You're going to have to figure out that shot on the left-hand side. I think that's a big topper, big dog bag. That's one of those holes where the utility of a big topper, big dog. I just started using this Cataclysm. It took however long ago the club car trading was, which was like, shit, it had to be 2.5 years ago. I didn't even have a Cataclysm, and I played for 2.5 years. My opponent is in the perfect spot at 304. I'm going to pull back to +8. +5. And 2 backspin. Take the wind out. I'm just doing a regular adjustment, and I'm going to do a little bit of curl. I hit it 2 rings great to the left. And I'm at 301, but I think I'm a little bit, I'm not sure how they measure the distance here, because I'm on the outside of my opponent. We're on the same plane. We got the same shot coming in, but I'm 3 yards out from them. And the sniper, no, the sniper works. There is a sniper rough bump from right here. And it bounces out of that rough, if I remember correctly, pretty, like it gets a real bounce. Another hole for a big wood. That's good. Definitely want a big wood. I suppose I could bounce it over 8. There is a second bounce rough bump. That's the deal. It's a second bounce rough bump. Hit it 2 rings great to the left. There's a second bounce rough bump. Whew, I missed the sand. Thank you. Thank you. It's close, but I missed the sand. There's only so far I could go to the left, and I was going to hit that sand. I gave myself as much room as I possibly could on the setup, so I could hit as many rings great to the left or the right as possible, but that was verging on 3. The first bounce would have been fine, but the second bounce would have been right in the sand. Close. Perfect. All right. At least know I need to bring, if I'm going to play that, I think there was a second bounce rough bump there, and I didn't try it. I need to write that down. Sniper, second bounce rough bump. Hole number 7. Okay, hold on. All right. On this hole right here, I was thinking, I had to go talk to a man about a horse, that if you came over from here, I think it was a second bounce rough bump. But if you were coming over from here and there was a second bounce rough bump, a horizon will work really good because it's got a shit ton of topspin. Bunches. But I'm definitely, if I'm going to go for this shot, I'm either going to have to bring out a bigger ball Once again, those 4 pair of balls will work awesome here. Or I'm going to have to bring out a bigger club. So on my notes, that's hole number 6, I'm going to write rock and a cataclysm. Rock and a cat. So that bag that I changed, I don't have any use for. But I do have a use for this bag. Yeah, I like the Ballkite better. All right, hole number 7. Hole number 7. Da-da-da-da. This is the one here. This hole, because your minimum, this was a question that came up yesterday with Benner, was your minimum in a club is always your minimum with any of them. That's my bitch with a Goliath and my short iron. My short iron hits at the max, and my long iron hits at the minimum of the which is right at this club. So there's no red line. So when you go to pull down, if you're used to pulling against the red line, even though you can't feel it, you're sliding across the red line. You can use the red line as a guide sometimes because you can't pull out all the wind. So you can use it as a guide. But here, it's automatically in another club. And if you've got it set up a certain way, this club might not have the same characteristics, and it changed your setup. And that bugs the shit out of me because my clubs used to not be the same. So I hardly ever never used a Goliath. Although my buddy Daz has a great point that this shot right here may call for a Goliath. And so you need to learn how to use your Goliath on this shot, because you may not use a Goliath day to day, but on this particular shot, the Goliath is the club to use. And that where our red line was at, it seemed like one of these holes, and it must be this one, that where our red line was at down in here, we were in between clubs. And with the power 1 ball, we had a headwind. We could work the wind out. But if we would have had, here you're in your driver and here you're in your wood, and so it was right there at the line. Maybe it was the other way around. There was something. I think it was driver. So it was a question of whether you're going to use a sniper or if you're going to use a rock. And depending on which way the wind was, I wrote sniper Titan. So you're trying to push the red line forward, otherwise you're going to be in your... but there's an issue there. There's an issue. Titan. Cataclysm. You see how that club, like where's that club at? There's max. Pretty close to max. And there's a backboard here. So if you miss it, it will come back down to it. This Cataclysm is 1.8 per ring, so there's 3.6. That leaves me 7. It's almost 2.5 rings. That's with no other adjustment. Hitting it perfect. Pretty good bounce in the rough. That's 2. That's 2 that I missed, where I was going just a little bit too fast and went over the cup, but it bounced in and out. And that one was just right there. Actually, a Cataclysm worked pretty good on that, and it pushed the red line forward. So if we had forward moving wind or headwind, I'd be able to work it out. So I'm going to put cat. And that ball guide, because it's got the 3.6 instead of the 3.2, you can flatten it out over there and it'll run a little bit better. The deal is it'll be going faster with the big dog. You have to shoot if you got a Cataclysm 5 and a big dog 9, you can check that out, and there will be a difference. Noticeable. Hitting it perfect. They had curl on there. They they were rubbing the nubs. If they hadn't been rubbing the nubs, that'd have been pretty damn close. Never work curl into the money shot. That is a losing proposition. There are a couple of holes. Okay, I will amend that. There are a couple holes in the game that I can think of where you can do max curl. Either no curl or max curl, because you can repeat both of those. But anything in between on the money shot is not, it's not that it won't go in, it's just that it's not repeatable. Even if you have hash marks. I mean, you're giving yourself a better shot, but anytime you have to involve the word curl, you're in big, big ass trouble. All right, hole number 8. I have 0 notes for hole number 8. None. But if I remember correctly, I do remember correctly. If the wind is blowing positive, if we've got positive wind going from this point, the shortest distance on this arc, if you measured the arc out here, like, you know, how far out here you'd have to get so that you're the same distance. You know, could you hit out here if you hit the fairway? Well, if you can go through these trees, you might be able to get, especially if you had wind going with you, this is an albatross ball hole. Okay, that extra 2 topspin. The one bad thing about the albatross ball hole is that it cuts the wind down. So like a 0 power, if you had forward moving wind, I've got some of those 5 power, 5 side spin. You might be able to, but there's shots out here. There's several different ways that you can go at it, and you could potentially make it on in one. And I can guarantee you in my 77 account that if we have tailwind, I am going for the green in 1. But if there's any other kind of wind, I think the way to go is out here and then take the shot coming in, because you can't make it. Although the shot from the rough up here might be, like, if you're really good, I feel pretty confident with my rough iron. It's all about hitting it at that speed, but there is a shot from out here, a pretty decent shot. But today I'm 100% sure we're getting tailwind or headwind. And that wind's not helping us. It's not. So I'm going to stick with a Titan, the king of balls. That's right. You can't get it done with a Titan. You just can't get it done. Titan. This tournament's sponsored by Titan. Here we go, getting out on the course, playing some Golf Clash, but of course. Okay, this is a shot I want to make sure I've got. I'm pretty sure it's a grizzly coming in. I'm going to be 3 rings away from the transitional at plus 14. 2, 3, 2, 3. And I'm just going to move it to 2, 3. Max curl. Hitting it perfect. And see if I set it up so that it can make it around the corner and avoid that sand trap. And we'll see on trajectory when it shows where I'm at. We can see if I had more forward distance, like if I hit it longer, am I closer to the cup or farther away? That looks like it's about as close as I can get. I think if I went any farther, I'm not really getting closer to the hole. And that extra mile, well, they adjusted for the wind. They were 1 ring off, so an APOC would work really well here. It's got tons of curl. When your rock gets up to 8 and 9 and gets the rest of its curl, it is awesome. Right before the club car trading came out, they buffed the rock and gave it 10 more yards, and that was awesome as well. Okay, there's man. I'm at minimum grizzly, which is like 1.4 per ring. I'm not going to make any spin adjustments. It's 1.4. I'm just going to do a 2-ring pull. That's 2.8. Hit it. A ring great to the right. Just a bit outside. That was the 1 ring great to the right. On that hole, it's +0. I'll have to go back and see where my spot was out there and how close I was to getting into that sand. I felt pretty comfortable from where I was at. That was minimum club. Pretty damn close. That's one of those shots where if you feel more comfortable with your short iron, you can bring out a bigger ball, and the bigger ball doesn't help you on the drive. But what it does help you with is on that second shot, it puts you into your short iron instead of your long iron, because you were at minimum long iron. It wouldn't have taken much to push it forward so that you'd be in minimum short iron. So if you had a big collection of power 5 balls, that might be a hole to bring out a power 5 ball so that you can take that second shot, especially if you had a low wind ball. I keep talking up those albatross balls. Now I wish I had bought more of them. And I bought a pretty good sized pack, but I blew through them. They work a lot. Some of those in those power 4s and maybe like one other power 5. The power 0, the wind 0 ones were good. There's several holes that they weren't good on. All right, I didn't go look at this hole, but there is a shot from out here. Yep, this is the bag. And I should have put a Guardian in this bag. That's what I really should have did. 2.9. Hitting it perfect. And in the drink, I screwed up my overpower. I wasn't paying attention. Not enough power, man. Power 5 ball. Here you can put on some backspin. If you had one of the 5 side spin. All right, I played that wrong, so now I have to get the Albie in order to save my eagle. I haven't picked up a shot all day, and I don't have a bag with a Guardian in it. You can recover from out there. You can. Let's see if I can put some overpower on it this time. Isn't it perfect? There's got to be a max overpower hook shot you can do from there with a katana. I think if you used a Kingmaker, it'd be too far, but the distance that you would pick up if you actually caught it where you wanted it, the katana would be more than enough. More than enough. And you can see from where my opponent's at, if you were farther forward having to hit over those trees, you're more towards the mid of your arc. Here you're towards the end, and so you're losing the distance, but you'd be closer to the trees, so you could go over the trees easier. If you ended up in the rough, it'd be worth the effort. But man, that first bounce on that little island, it would be... I'll have to practice. I'll have to go in and burn all of my practice tokens. I'm going to burn all my practice tokens on hole number 9 and see if there's a max overpower hook shot that goes from the right to the left that puts you out towards the end of this fairway. Because I don't have enough curl to get it around that bend. Even max curl. And this shot would be much better if I was in the fairway. And on those shots, it almost doesn't matter because you're just trying to not end up in the rough again. Man, the wind was hard on that. I would have said I had a 100% chance of recovering if I would have made it over into the fairway. But from where I'm at, if I hit it perfect, I have a 100% chance of recovering. This could be the shot of the round right here. On one of these holes, Dunner and I did the shot where it goes behind it and then back down the hill. In the hole. Nice shot. All right, here we go. This could be the shot of the round. That was it. I got a birdie. I thought I had one more. I thought I had one more chance to recover, and I didn't. That was my shot. That was my shot. What a bummer. I dropped one off the minimum score on the last hole. And where'd my opponent pick them up? Picked up hole number 1, that par 4. Picked up hole number 5. Hole number 6, that par 4. And hole number 8, that par 4. So all 3 of the par 4s, picked up all 3 of the par 4s. This person shot, this is what we're looking for. This is the perfect round. Picked up all 3 of the par 4s and just played the rest of the round out minus 15. I mean, in most tournaments, these par 4s are what's going to set you up, and any of these other shots that you can get will win you a tournament. Perfect. Great job. Let's check GoGolf off. 353 million. They're right with me. They played that same with 77. I've got about 350 million won. Haven't played big game stakes up to Tour 7. About 11,000 versus 10. Nice. You can never work off of somebody's win percentage because we used to be able to forfeit, especially if we played that many games. This person's been around for a while. And so we forfeit a lot of games, especially in tournaments. We've got at least 1,500 forfeits, so it really affects your win percentage. But if that's their actual win percent, what I wish that Golf Clash would do is come out with a win percentage for the last 100. So especially if you're going up in the tour and you're working your way up, you can see where you're at in the last 100 so that you can, I mean, your bankroll is going to tell you a little bit, but if you work on your bankroll can get big really fast. Especially if you work up a tour and then you can, and work that tour, you can really get your bankroll up. Last 100 would be nice. Hole-in-ones, that's a big number. I keep track of hole-in-ones and albatrosses. All right, world rank. There we go. Minus 11. That is not what I'm looking for. I've got to work on hole number 9. So hole number 9, I didn't look at it. I just went and played it. But first of all, I wrote, if you're using a power 3 ball and we have any kind of forward moving wind, you're going to have to do overpower. And I did, it seemed like I did a little bit of overpower on the first one, but not near enough to get you over to that spot. But if you had and I used a Titan, so it only has 2 side spin, but if you used a Kingmaker, or if you had a power 4 side spin ball with an APOC, you might be able to bring it around to this fairway and try and pick up distance, because our opponent was out here in a long iron. They were in their Nirvana, and they had gotten farther out than me. I think I was like in this area. Yeah, so anything, even if you could just get up here. If this is long iron, this is Goliath. Goliath is the same as a Nirvana 135. So that's where you're going to be hitting your Goliath from. But you'd have a lot more options from out here. You could get in a minimum Guardian, and that backboard that's on there, you could really try and make it sing. I think it's possible. The other way to go at it is to do a max overpower hook shot and use this island. There's one other hole that I tried a max overpower hook shot on and immediately hit the tree. Like, I knew I was pretty close to the right spot. Dunner tried it. There's an island out here. Which hole was that on? Let me do that. Let's see, what hole was that on? It might have been on this hole. I don't think it was. There's one of these holes that I tried a max overpower hook shot off the tee, and it was not good. Not good. But this hole right here, since we're going from, and let me get that off the screen. Since we're going from the left, or from the right to the left, and we're trying to get this kind of movement so that we can go down this fairway. If we're using this island, my Titan, I think my red line for my Titan was somewhere out here, and it might be too far forward in the shot so that when the hook takes place, it's just like on this line, it's bringing you out here. So you need to bring a katana so it moves you in on your line, and so it brings you over into this area. And if you can catch it and get up to the tip of this, I mean, my opponent was in a long iron here, and their arc was such that it was coming down like this, so on the tail it was coming through the trees. And the highest part of the arc is here. So if you can push it forward to get up towards this tip, then your arc now is at the height of the tree, so you can actually go for the cup. Either you could try and run it up and try and stick it up to it, or you could use the backboard and run out some topspin, and you could actually go for it. So like optimal spot is right here. So if you do have some of those 4-4-4s in your bag, those would be great balls for this, because you get that 4 wind on this shot. You need the side spin. You need a club with a lot of curl. And you need the extra power to make sure even if there's a little bit of a headwind, you can always make this island. So you might be able to work that wind out. You don't have to do an overpower. You're not necessarily going to go, you're going to have to work that shot. Those were great. Great. All right. That was my practice qualifying round. So I did get some good notes off of that one as far as like some of the holes. Some of the holes I thought I had a plan, but that plan's not the right one. So I'm going to have to change on those holes. But there we go. There we go. That is not acceptable. We have to be able to shoot minimum score of minus 12, or we can't even, don't even think about anything up. And if you pick up one of those shots, you just lost. So the deal is that minimum score is the deal, because you can't talk about picking up that shot like, hey, I got this shot on hole number 2. Yeah, but you dropped hole number 1. You can't do that. Thanks for watching. Have a great tournament. I love brand new holes. I usually, this is exactly how I usually start playing brand new holes. And the deal is that this is only the second time I've ever played these holes. So I feel pretty good about like where we were at on minimum score on hole number 9. I thought if I tried to make it around there, that I'd have a shot at it. I could have just pounded it straight forward and come at it from the right hand side. I think that might be the other way to go, is to come at it where you try and get out as far as you can on that island. So you're trying to get out here as far as you can get. And that puts you with your Nirvana. You've got a great shot. There's nothing wrong with the Nirvana from this distance out here. My opponent was at max and they were somewhere in this window. But if you can get in front of that where you really try and get out into the rough, you can put yourself in a great Nirvana shot. And that shot would be a lot easier for most players as far as clubs than this shot, to try and get around this bend, because this is going to take a club with a lot of curl. All right. I was thinking about that. That's how my brain works. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Everybody have fun on these holes, and I will tomorrow. I think we should be done early enough tomorrow that, like, time difference wise, I can get on with Dunner, and we can play. I haven't qualified my 77 account, and I don't know that he's qualified his Dunner account, so we can go in and play around and see if we can get matched up. Talk to you later.